Well, we just saw the season finale of Dark Winds. So, was there something about that series that really made you want to be a part of it?
So longtime friend Chris Eyre I'd known he and Robert Redford, aka Bob, who I've worked with before on an independent film. He he told me and kind of kept me in the loop on this project. Hey, there's this project. Bob and I've been working on this for a while, and it looks like it's getting close. It might be, there's a really strong chance that it might happen last upcoming year. So yeah, it happened and things were rolling, and they told me, he's like, hey, I have you in mind for this character. Kind of a dark character with a lot of trauma. And so, I was really intrigued to learn more. And then, as we started talking and I started seeing some of the material and then sending him, we were still in COVID and pandemic. So I was sending them kind of like video screen testing. And then Zahn and both Kaiwa said, hey, we'd love for you to come on and play with us. And that was an honor, of course.
Then you were familiar with some of your co-stars before working with them on that one.
Yeah, actually, I've worked with Zahn on Longmire. We had a scene. I believe it might have been cut, but so we had familiarity. We worked together before, and then Kaiwa, we worked together on Drunktown, which is the other Robert Redford project.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, when you read the breakdown for Ohoski, was there something about him that resonated with you, or something that you felt was really a draw for you to portray him?
Yeah, great question. I think, he kind of encapsulates a lot of the trauma that is common, unfortunately, with some of our young men back home. Guys that been through boarding school, which is a very traumatic experience. My late father had went through that, and it was just really harsh. And as a young kid, if you weren't speaking English and English wasn't his first language, so you'd learn by force. And if you weren't speaking English, they would force you to speak the language. And so, just being, kids are kids. And he had his eardrum ruptured by one of the attendants twisting his ears. And then, and just other physical abuse. But, my late father passed last year and was one of the sweetest guys in the world. Never raised his voice, always was very even keel and very sweet. And that was amazing to me. But I think, that's not common. I think most people end up internalizing that violence and harboring it and taking it out on other people. And then you get into Vietnam with Hosky and his background there. And we have a lot of untreated vets back home, and also kind of just getting home. And the big problem with acclimating, a lot of our vets have not really having a solid plan after laid out. So, I felt like that really spoke to me. And currently we have such a problem with anger. And I think through this pandemic, you try to see a counselor and talk about something, in my case, grief over this last year. It's very hard to try to get to someone, a professional, and it shouldn't be like that. But I think men in general in the U.S., in the society, and in Navajo society are very repressed. I don't think we touch on our emotions as much as we should. So that was important.
That also must have been such a challenge for you, but maybe even a little difficult for you internally to portray this character that you know so well.
Yeah, I think, but there was, of course, as an actor, you always try to lean towards the humanity. And I think that was probably the heartbreaking part. I knew how the project ended, but I wanted to portray him with the glint of, who knows, there may be hope. There may be a chance that he could turn things around. His big mission that he's trying to pull. Maybe it works. Maybe he ends up doing, pulling it off and doing amazing things. But we know that's, not the case in the end. And I think that's the heartbreaking part, is just that his wires are so crossed. And through all this trauma, he's kind of like, when you jump in a pool and you don't know which way's up and down. I think that's kind of where he's at the end.
Well, we're also getting to see you on Better Call Saul. What was it like for you getting to reprise this role of Vince, and what were your thoughts when they approached you about it?
Yeah, so Vince Gilligan initially, of course, Vince and Peter. I never expected anything. I knew that we'd probably be brought back, and I was thinking maybe it'd be later, like it would be towards the end of wrapping up the whole series. But luckily they brought me in mid-season, right in the middle of the season, right in the middle of the series, and I was able to play out Victor, up until this very last season. So it's been a dream. It's been a gift. Jonathan Banks and I, we say, it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's been something quite amazing, something that you can't really plan for in your career, but when you have these little happy accidents happen, they're really amazing things to happen.
Are you able to tease maybe some of your either favorite moments from filming Better Call Saul or favorite episodes you worked on?
So by far, for sure, on Saul, coming back, I loved just that first, because this is the first episode I read. It's a need to know thing, and if you're not currently in a season, or if you're not a regular and you're just I don't want to say just a guest star, they treat us really well as guest stars on the show, but it's not like they're sending us scripts so we can be updated just in general. So reading that first script of the first episode I was in season 3, I loved it. I loved, like, it was just a different vibe. I kept up with the series watching it, but when I read that, I loved how they were taking our side of it, very cat and mouse. And I was intrigued and I was curious, like, how did we loop Mike in? He's such an amazing force as a character. It's like, how do you rein in a guy like that? And it's only Gus Fring that could do something like that. So that cat and mouse process was pretty amazing.
Yeah, talk about working with Giancarlo Esposito and even Bob Odenkirk.
I know. It's been amazing. Giancarlo, as a kid, I grew up watching Do the Right Thing, all the Spike Lee movies, even the Nothing to Lose with Martin Lawrence. And I loved his work. And so when I first jumped on Breaking Bad, working under him, that was a dream come true, and I say a lot of times, like, I went through the Vince Gilligan film school, and I really feel like I did, and the Giancarlo Esposito acting school. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride and journey, and to learn from these people that are the best in the business. I couldn't ask for more.
And you are a part of social media. You must get a lot of feedback, especially to Breaking Bad and your work here on Better Call Saul. What does that mean to you? What kind of responses do you tend to receive?
Yeah, I mean, all good responses, in the sense that it's like, people are very passionate about the show. I think at this point, it's really, is there going to be more, because on Breaking Bad, people were just holding their breath, hoping there may be more, there may be something else. We want to see what happens after that. We want to see, there are all these, what happened before that. So, being able to provide those answers and provide that narrative, it's a dream come true. I don't know. I mean, I was telling my wife, it's like, where do you go when you wrap up something like this and you've been so close, like, right, family for 13 years in my case, and it's luckily I have a real family, otherwise I think I'd be feeling a big, and I still feel a big empty spot where my heart is right now, just because we've done a lot together, and we've grown together, and there's been a lot there. So I think the fans feel that as well.
I was just going to ask, what did you personally take away from your time working on these incredible series, besides the beautiful friendships that you made over the years?
Vince and Peter, they make it feel so inviting, and the work environment is creative, and it's just a very collaborative working culture that everybody feels like they want to put their best forward, and it's not being micromanaged, and it's not being beat over the head. It's really the people that are there really want to be there. And for this last season, that was a year of starting back March of 2021 and literally wrapping March of 2022. So that's very unheard of. But also to be on a series where you carry a lot of the people along in two different shows, a spinoff, and then the original. I think I'm taking away that like anything's possible. I got into this business as going in as an adult and wanting to be a director, writer, producer, and UCLA Film School wasn't my path. And instead, the Vince Gilligan School of Film was my path. And I feel like I learned a lot, and I feel like I can pass that along and hopefully be a good reflection of that, and harbor those lessons, and really be a good steward of hopefully doing the same thing and creating other shows as well.
Well, you've been a part of a number of dramatic series. Is that a genre that really appeals to you for a particular reason, or is it just something that you found your niche and it's a beautiful niche for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you're right, to be a part of Yellowstone, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, now Dark Winds. It's, even time that I've had on Bosch. The thing that I'm pretty amazed by is that we're in the golden age of TV, and I really feel like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul kind of set that standard. And so when I went over to Bosch, I had Chaz Bennett, who's now a friend. She and the other producer came up and said, "Hey, really love Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. We wrote this actually with you in mind, and we were hoping that you would take this role. So we're happy you did." And that's a compliment. Those are the things that weren't happening before, but it's just exciting in general to see all the great material. Where I'd like to go, I don't know. My wife thinks I'm more goofy than funny, but maybe being, I don't know, maybe playing some comedy.
She's biased. She doesn't know.
Yeah, she's biased. So I don't know. Maybe do the Malcolm in the Middle reprise or something. They do a remake of it. I don't know. That'd be ironic. But for now, I'm happy with what I have.
So what's next for you? Have you been trying to do a film yourself, directing wise or producing wise, or have you been busy just working behind on screen lately?
Yeah, I think as always as an exercise, I try to write just to maybe not so actively, in a sense, like trying to go sell something, but more so really just trying to build and understand the craft so I can understand material when I really appreciate something that's done well. So that practice is something more so as I think as a craft to my acting. So there are things that are written, but as far as, on the directing side, I say that the directing, producing side, that's, I'd say that the next step of things. I had a project offered and brought up to me, and I think I'm really thinking that might be the next step. Of course, there's some good acting things that are coming along as well. So, it's just prioritizing and having fun. These are all good problems to have. and problems that didn't exist 10, 12, 13 years ago. So I'm just appreciative. Yeah.